सर्वत्रासहराञ्जिनान् तैश्चाप्यधिगतं धर्मं संसारभयनाशनं शरणं यामि भावेन बोधिसत्त्वगणं तथा समन्तभद्रयात्मानं ददामि भयविह्वलः पुनश्च मञ्जुघोषाय ददाम्यात्मानमात्मना तं चावलोकितं नाथं कृपाव्याकुलचारिणं विरौम्यर्तरवं भीतः स मां रक्षतु पापिनम् आर्यमाकाशगर्भं च क्षितिगर्भं च भावतः सर्वान् महाकृपांश्चापि त्राणान् वेशि विरौम्यहम् यं दृष्ट्वैव च सन्त्रस्ता पलायन्ते चतुर्दिशं यमदूतादयो दृष्टास्तं नमस्यामि वज्रिणम् अतीत्ययुष्मद्वचनं साम्प्रतं भयदर्शन शरणं यामि वो भीतो भयं पुनश्च मञ्जुघोषाय ददाम्यात्मानमात्मना तं चावलोकितं नाथं कृपाव्याकुलचारिणं विरौम्यर्तरवं भीतः स मां रक्षतु पापिनम् आर्यमाकाशगर्भं च क्षितिगर्भं च भावतः सर्वान् महाकृपांश्चापि त्राणान् वेशि विरौम्यहम् यं दृष्ट्वैव च सन्त्रस्ता पलायन्ते चतुर्दिशं यमदूतादयो दृष्टास्तं नमस्यामि वज्रिणम् अतीत्ययुष्मद्वचनं साम्प्रतं भयदर्शन शरणं यामि वो भीतो भयं नाशयतद्रुतम् इत्वरव्याधिभीतोऽपि वैद्यवाक्यं न लङ्घये किमु व्याधिसतिर्ग्रस्तश्चतुर्भिश्चतुरुत्तरैः एकेनापि यतः सर्वे जम्बुदीपगता नरः नश्यन्ति येषां भैषज्यं सर्वदिक्षु न लभ्यते तत्र सर्वज्ञवैद्यस्य सर्वशल्यापहारिणः वाक्यमुल्लङ्घयामीति धिङ्मामत्यन्तमोहितम् अत्यप्रमत्तस्तिष्ठामि प्रपातेष्वितरेष्वपि किमु योजनसाहस्रे प्रपाते दीर्घकालिके अद्यैव मरणं नैति न युक्ता मे सुखासिका अवश्यमेति सा वेला न भविष्याम्यहं यदा अभयं केन मे दत्तं निस्सारिष्यामि वा कथम् अवश्यं न भविष्यामि कस्मान्मे सुस्थितं मनः पूर्वानुभूतनष्टेभ्यः किं मे सारमवस्थितं येषु मे विनिविष्टेन गुरूणां लङ्घितं वचः जीवलोकमिमं त्यक्त्वा बन्धुन् परिचितांस्तथा एकाकी क्वापि यास्यामि किं मे सर्वैः प्रियाः प्रियैः इयमेव तु मे चिन्ता युक्ता रात्रिन्दिवं तदा अशुभान्नियतं दुःखं निस्सरेयं ततः कथम् मया बालेन मूढेन यत्किञ्चित् पापमासितं प्रकृत्या यच्च सावद्यं प्रज्ञप्त्यावद्यमेव च तत्सर्वं देशयाम्येष नाथानाम् अग्रतस्थितः कृताञ्जलिर्दुःखभीतः प्रणिपत्य पुनः पुनः अत्ययमत्ययत्वेन प्रतिगृह्णन्तु नायकः अभद्रकमिदं नाथ न कर्तव्यं पुनर्मया अभद्रकमिदं नाथ न कर्तव्यं पुनर्मया अभद्रकमिदं नाथ न कर्तव्यं पुनर्मया इति श्री शान्तिरेव विरचिते बोधिचर्यावतारे पापदेशना नाम द्वितीयः परिच्छेदः ॐ
All right. Well, good morning, and I want to welcome you all to the Rime Center. We're so happy to have you here. And if you're joining us online and you'd like to follow along with the service, please click the link in the event description to download the service handout. Okay, as we get started, let's just get settled in our space, present to where we're at. To help us do that, we're just going to take a couple deep breaths. Holding the breath in just for a moment, letting it out, letting go of any tension you're holding in your body and in your mind. Let's begin with our refuge vows. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I go for refuge until enlightenment is reached. May my generosity and accumulations of merit bring benefit to all beings, and may all beings actualize perfect Buddhahood. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I go for refuge until enlightenment is reached. May my generosity and accumulations of merit bring benefit to all beings, and may all beings actualize perfect Buddhahood. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I go for refuge until enlightenment is reached. May my generosity and accumulations of merit bring benefit to all beings, and may all beings actualize perfect Buddhahood. Four immeasurables. May all beings be endowed with happiness. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separated from happiness, and may all beings abide in equanimity, undisturbed by the 8 worldly concerns. May all beings be endowed with happiness. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separated from happiness, and may all beings abide in equanimity, undisturbed by the 8 worldly concerns. May all beings be endowed with happiness. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separated from happiness, and may all beings abide in equanimity, undisturbed by the 8 worldly concerns. For as long as space endures, and for as long as living beings remain, until then may we too abide to dispel the misery of the world. 7-line prayer. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and mentally transformed. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the merits of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until samsara ends and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate the merit created by myself and others to the great enlightenment. Mandal offering. This ground anointed with perfumes, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this is a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. The objects of my attachment, aversion, and ignorance, friends, enemies, strangers, my body, wealth, and enjoyments, without any sense of loss, I offer this collection. Please accept it with pleasure and bless me with the freedom from the 3 poisons. Idam Guru Ratna Manalakam Niyatayami. And so as you're seated here, allow your body to settle. Let your spine be natural and upright, grounded yet at ease. Allow the hands to rest comfortably, whether in your lap or on your knees. And if it feels appropriate, gently close your eyes or soften your gaze. But let's just take a moment to relax the body, softening the forehead, the jaw, our shoulders. Let the belly be soft. And just let the breath move freely. And now take a few slow, deep breaths, inhaling fully, exhaling completely. And with each breath, allow yourself to arrive more fully in this moment. And now let the breath return to its natural rhythm. And bring your attention gently to the sensation of breathing, the rise and fall of the body, the feel of air entering and leaving. And just allow the mind to rest with the breath, not trying to change it. Simply knowing the breath as it is. If thoughts arise, just gently note them and turn to the next inhale and the next exhale. And now bring to the mind someone who's experiencing suffering right now. This may be someone you know personally, someone who is close to you. It may be one being or many beings, human or animal. And let the image or sense of this person arise naturally. There's no need to be precise. And as you hold them in awareness, allow yourself to sense their suffering. You don't need to analyze or judge it, just simply notice how it is felt. And you may experience it as a physical pain, emotional heaviness, or as a sense of tightness or despair. Whatever arises is enough. And now as you breathe in, imagine breathing in the suffering. You might visualize it as a storm cloud, a dense smoke, or a heavy weight. With each in-breath, gently acknowledge their pain, not to fix it, not to push it away, just simply be willing to touch it with awareness. And as the suffering enters the heart, imagine it being transformed like light passing through a prism. Within this vast open space of the heart, suffering meets wisdom and becomes compassion. And now as you breathe out, send out compassion and healing. Visualize as warm, radiant light, like the light of the sun, or a gentle wave of kindness and care. With each out-breath, offer relief, ease, and love. Let the suffering be released, transformed into compassion as it flows outward. And just continue in this rhythm, breathing in the suffering, breathing out compassion, allowing the breath to be the seat of the pace. No need to force anything. There's no right or wrong experience. And at any time, if this practice feels too intense, you may want to soften the visualization or return the attention to the simple sensation of breathing. And if you have the capacity, you may widen the focus, breathing in the suffering of many beings, breathing out compassion for all. And if you find your mind wandering, just gently notice that. Kindly return it to the breath, to breathing in suffering, breathing out compassion. And now allow the image of suffering beings to gently dissolve, letting the practice rest. Just return your full attention fully to the breath, just as it is, inhaling and exhaling. Notice the body seated here, supported, held, and grounded. Taking a few deeper breaths, feel the stability beneath you. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes, carrying this intention of compassion into the rest of the service and into your life beyond this moment. Supplication to Buddha, to the Blessed One, the One gone beyond, the fully awakened One, the great physician, the supreme teacher. You came to this earth, and through your own efforts, you obtained the awakened state, overcoming all suffering and distress. Through your great compassion, you showed us the path to liberation. You taught us the merit of compassion, wisdom, and equanimity. To you, the glorious teacher, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Blessed One. Through the merits of these thoughts, words, and actions, may we dedicate this for the benefit of all sentient beings. And like you, O Blessed One, may we and every being attain the supreme awakened state, free from the ocean of suffering. Lord of the Dharma, I prostrate to your omniscient being. Supplication to Manjushri. Om, homage to Manjushri, deity whose diamond speech cuts all false suffering, whose clear mind is the embodiment of insight wisdom. Manjushri, protector, free from evil and karmic stains, your form is vast as the sky. Your mind dwells in the one taste of suchness. Lord of wisdom, I prostrate to your omniscient being. Supplication to Maitreya. Om, Lord Maitreya, benevolent ones, golden son of the primordial, emperor of the northern paradise, around you the stars and spheres course and turn. Within the span of your breath, countless worlds rise and fall. Deity of innumerable names, called or uncalled, you're always present. May the pure heaven of Tashita always arise before us. Supplication to Palden Lama. Soul Mother, Lady victorious over the three worlds, please pay attention here and now. You overpower the whole apparent world, samsara and nirvana, by heroically guarding the Dharma and Dharma holders with the four types of actions flashing like lightning. You soar up openly like a full moon in the midst of a garland of powerful Dharma protectors. Powerful Daikini protector, I prostrate to your omniscient being. And so for this second meditation, we'll continue our Tonglen practice. This time our focus will be on those that are neutral to us or acquaintances. Lojong lineage prayer. For the sake of all beings to attain enlightenment, I turn to the source of the ultimate mind training, to the perfect Buddha Shakyamuni, who taught the profound path of the two truths. I pray, let the sun of your wisdom dawn in my heart. To the lords of the Dharma, Nagarjuna and Asanga, and to the great-hearted Shantideva, who mapped the vast path of the Bodhisattva, I pray, ignite the flame of bodhicitta in me. To the lineage holders of the Lojong instructions, who realized the view, perfected compassion, and championed the practice of exchanging self and others, I pray, shatter the fortress of self-cherishing within me. To Serlingpa, Atisha, and Shekawa, to Tokme Zangpo, who lived what he taught, all who blended sutra into essence, I pray, may your realization awaken in me. To my kind root Lama, the embodiment of all refuges, from whom the living stream of this lineage flows, I pray, let your mind and mine become indivisible. Heart essence of awakening. Having received the blessings of the lineage, resting in the heart of indivisible mind, I turn these blessings into the path, applying the essence of mind training for the awakening of all beings. With these blessings, I will train in the preliminaries, remembering this life precious and fleeting, change, cause, and effect, suffering born of self. From these reflections, renunciation arises, and the determination to practice is born. In every moment, I see all things as dreamlike, resting in awareness, unfabricated and clear. I free even the antidote in its own place. Breathing in suffering of beings, I breathe out joy and ease for all. When difficulty weighs heavily on the world, seeing the root clinging to self, thus every challenge becomes the path. I take all blame into one heart and let emptiness shine through pain. My whole life gathers into the essence of practice. I apply the five strengths without decline: aspiration and familiarization, wholesome seeds and restraint, revulsion towards harm and diligence and virtue, gathering merit, clearing obscurations. All my conduct flows from the awakened intention. All teachings serve a single goal: liberation. I rely on the witness, my own clear and knowing mind. Joy dwelling within confirms the training. Impartial and free from display, I keep my word. My attitudes change without strain. I do not speak of injury or dwell on faults. Releasing rivalry and expectations, I practice patience and boundless kindness. In short, with all these blessings, all I do arises from the one pure intention: to bring benefit to all beings. Patience and courage are my refuge. I train unceasingly in the three difficulties, gathering trust and practice as provisions. I remain in virtue of body, speech, and mind. With all pervasive care, I serve all beings, seeking in this very life the realization of the supreme vehicle. The merit of this mind training, the heart essence of Atisha and his heirs, sustained by the blessings of the lineage. Fusion be exhausted at its root, and all beings a perfect awakening. Vajrasattva mantra. Om benza sato samaya mano palaya benza sato tino patrida drido mebawa suto kayo mebawa supo kayo mebawa anorakto mebawa sarva siddhi me prayatsa sarva karma susame sitam shriyam karuhum ha 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 ho bhagawan Sarva tata gata benza mame munza benzi bawa mahasamaya sato ha hum bet hom benza sato samaya manopalaya benza sato tino patrida trido mebawa suto kayo mebawa supo kayo mebawa Anorakto me bawa sarva siddhi me prayatsa sarva karma susame sitam shriyam karuhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sarva tata gata benza mame munza benzi bawa mahasamaya sato ahum pet. Om benza sato samaya manopalaya benza sato chinopa trida trido mebawa sutokayo mebawa supokayo mebawa eno rakto mebawa sawasidi me prayatsa sawa karma susame sitam shriyam karuhum ha 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 ho bhagawan Sarwatata gata benza mame munza benzi bawa mahasamaya sato ahum ben.
Om Vajra Sapa 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 Om Vajrasattva 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 Om Vajrasattva.
And so it's on this third and final meditation that we continue our Tonglen practice. This time, our focus changes to those that are difficult to deal with. If you don't have the capacity for that, you can also do the Tonglen for your own suffering in your life. Okay. Well, again, I want to offer a warm welcome to everyone who's gathered here today. If this is your first time visiting, can you raise your hand? I think we have a couple people. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Oh, yeah, Sid, this isn't your first time. Maybe in this building, but we're happy that you brought your dad, though, Sid. So thank you so much. So I just, whether you're exploring the Dharma or seeking your spiritual home, I do hope that you consider the Rime Center as a meaningful part of your journey. I do have quite a few announcements. The first thing I wanted to mention is we're doing our Tonka raffle this month with this beautiful red Tara or the Kurokule Tonka. Raffle tickets are $20. They benefit the Rime Temple Fund. You can get the tickets upstairs. When you put them in the box, just make sure you write your name. You do need to be in person to win the prize, and we're going to be pulling the raffle tickets next Sunday after the Sunday service as part of our celebration for the completion of the Bodhisattva Challenge. Well, no, I think is it? I don't know. Maybe it is. I've lost all track of time. I want to invite you all to join us after the service today for our next Sutra Study Sunday. We're going to be studying Chapter 4 of the teachings of Vimalakirti. We're also going to be having a Sangha meetup at the Weston Bend State Park. Originally, it was going to be next Saturday, April 11th, but because of the threat of rain coming in, we're going to push it a week. I know. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's either that or we're slipping and sliding in the mud. So, and it's going to be at 10 a.m. And again, it's just a way for us to enjoy a mindful walk in nature, connecting with fellow Sangha members, and just experiencing the beauty of practice beyond the meditation hall. And all are welcome. Gabi wanted me to make sure to let everyone know that after the service on April 19th, we're going as a Sangha to help kind of clean up the Sangha grounds, the house outside. So please stay for that. If you can, bring some gloves. We have a few outdoor implements like rakes and things like that. But if you have something that you could bring, it would be very appreciative. Hopefully, if we can all gather as a Sangha and do it, it makes it a very quick time. So finally, I want to ask you to mark your calendars for our next upcoming class, which is preparing for the Bodhisattva vows. This will be April 23rd at 7:45 p.m. There's going to be 2 sessions, and it's just a way to offer a supportive and reflective space for those of you who are contemplating taking the Bodhisattva vows after our Bodhisattva challenge. Together, we're going to explore the meaning, purpose, and practice of these vows, hopefully helping you to approach these commitments with clarity and confidence. And then the Bodhisattva vows themselves will be conferred on May 3rd during the Sunday service. So it'll be an abbreviated service. Well, actually, probably be a regular service, but instead of a Dharma talk, we'll do the vows ceremony. Finally, as we reflect on the renewal and continuity, we're reminded that over 30 years, the Rime Buddha Center has been a sanctuary in Kansas City, offering compassion, wisdom, and community. The Rime Center had recently experienced an unexpected sewer line break that forced us to close for a Wednesday until a crew could come out and repair the sewer line. It broke from the house out to the main street, so it was a quite costly repair. The repair itself was $11,700, which was an unplanned expense that we were not able to meet alone. If you're able to, make a contribution or a donation, we would be very much appreciative. I do want to mention I took a peek right before the service started at the Square site that kind of is tracking the donations. We're about $500 away from our goal. So it is mind-blowing that we as a Sangha came together to help us with that expense. So thank you so very much. But again, if you're able to help us meet our goal, we would be very appreciative. So the Rime Center, if it's touched your life or supported your practice, again, we invite you to join us also in building the next chapter of our community together. And then the Daikini group asked me to mention that we are continuing our pastries and coffee in the morning. For those of you who come early, you're more than welcome to partake also after the service, of course. And we're taking donations, and the donations help the Bodhicitta Foundation in India, which helps underserved women and girls out in those communities. I was told in March we had raised $160 through those donations. So thank you so much. And so far, year to date, $409. So that is fantastic. Yeah, thank you all so much. We think, oh, it's only $409, but with the currency conversion, it's actually quite a lot of money. So thank you. All right. With that said, let me get my Dharma talk pulled up. Well, let me start this talk with a simple question. Have you ever found yourself replaying a conversation, not just remembering, but arguing it over and over again in your mind? Maybe the better question is who hasn't, because we would like to talk to you after the service to find out what your secret is. But we like to rebuild our case, sharpening our points, making sure, at least internally, that we're going to win that conversation if it ever comes up again. And that moment, it's not a failure of practice. That moment is the practice, because what's being revealed there very much is the self-cherishing mind. So let's begin by setting our intention with this Dharma talk. And we set our intention carefully with just this thought: may whatever understanding arises here not remain conceptual, but become something lived, something embodied for the benefit of all sentient beings. And that orientation, not just for me, is the grounding of our mind training. And as we've been learning these last weeks, Lojong is a systematic dismantling of one of the most deeply embedded structures in our experience. This conviction that I come first, that I must win, that my suffering is more urgent, that my perspective is more accurate, my needs are more legitimate. And this is what the tradition points to as that self-cherishing. And the teachings are not ambiguous about it. Self-cherishing is not just a problem, it is the organizing principle of samsara. So the aim here is not like some cosmetic change. It is to reverse the orientation of our heart so that the concern for others is no longer artificial, but instinctive. Now, this is crucial. That it does not happen through inspiration alone. It requires constraint, it requires structure, and it requires commitments. And in our Rime tradition, we really make a point of honoring the full diversity of the Buddhist paths. We don't elevate one lineage over another. We recognize the foundational discipline of the Theravada tradition, the vast expanse of compassion of the Mahayana tradition, and the profound transformative methods of the Vajrayana tradition. And while those may seem quite different on the surface, their essence is actually the same. They're all pointing to this. How do we tame this wild mind of ours? And how do we open our heart to all beings? And so today we're going to bring that down to something very practical. We're going to look at how we move from the idea of compassion, the theory of it, into something lived, something embodied. And we'll do that through the commitments of mind training, drawing from the teachings of the great master, Geshe Jekawa. So when we hear the word commitments, sometimes it will be referred to as samaya. It can land a certain way. It can feel restrictive. like we're being hemmed in by the rules, like something is being imposed on us. But in the Dharma, commitments aren't chains, they're supports. They're a framework that holds the practice in its place, especially when our inspiration fades or when our habits start to take over. Because the truth is, we need that structure. Without it, the mind just follows its own habit patterns. And over time, if our actions consistently contradict these principles of mind training, something very predictable happens. Our progress stalls. And not only that, the good qualities that we've already developed begin to erode. And so these commitments aren't about control, they're really about protection. They protect the direction that we're trying to move in. Khentrul Lodru Taye Rinpoche begins this section of his book with a metaphor, and he says, and I quote, "If we plant a flower, we need protective parameters, such as a good fence to prevent deer from eating it. If we leave the flower unprotected, the deer may eat its first shoots, and so it doesn't grow at all. Or they may eat it when it's partially grown, causing the plant to wither. Or they will nibble it bit by bit, which will stun its growth," end quote. And so these commitments are the fence that protects the garden of the mind. Without them, even the seeds of wisdom cannot fully grow. And these are going to include the 16 specific acts to avoid. Again, not as rules in a moral sense, but because each one directly contradicts what we are trying to cultivate in our mind training. So rather than abstract philosophy, this gives us a very clear mirror of when the practice is alive and where it quietly slips away. Think of them more as a diagnostic tool. Each one reveals a specific way that self-cherishing reasserts itself. Each one reveals, or not crudely, but intelligently. It disguises itself, this self-cherishing, as discernment, as justice, spiritual maturity, even the Dharma itself. So as we go through these, the question is not, do I agree with this? The question is, where does this operate in me right now? So before we get into the details of these 16 actions to avoid, the text gives us kind of the first of the 16 as kind of the 3 foundational instructions. And these are not preliminary, they are structural. If these collapse, everything becomes performance. So the first one is, do not contradict the commitments. And at first, this sounds obvious, but the commentary makes it very sharp. Even a single moment of contradiction matters, not because we must be perfect, but because the practice lives exactly in those moments. A flicker of irritation, a moment of quiet contempt, a subtle tightening around being right. That's where self-cherishing reconstitutes itself. So that this is not about managing dramatic failures, it's about recognizing the micro movements of ego and correcting them immediately. But we also have, do not allow our conduct to be confused. This is a warning about a very specific danger, mistaking conceptual understanding for realization. And the text gives us a striking example. Someone who believes they understand emptiness and therefore behaves as though cause and effect no longer apply, becoming reckless, performative, unconstrained. And we might not express it so explicitly, but it shows up in subtler ways. I understand this teaching, so my reaction is justified. This isn't anger, it's clarity. I'm just being authentic. And this is not realization, this is the ego appropriating the Dharma. And the corrective is very clear. If practice is genuine, conduct becomes more careful, not less, more precise, more attuned, not dramatic, but refined. And then the third one is not to allow our practice to become biased. This is where most practitioners quietly fail. We practice when it's convenient. When we're suffering, sure. When we're calm, sometimes. And when we're tired, irritated, or distracted, rarely. But those moments, that's the edge of the practice. So the instruction is deliberately blunt. If you are happy, practice. If you're miserable, practice. If you're clear, practice. If you're confused, practice. Exactly. Otherwise, what we call practice is just mood-dependent behavior. So a significant part of this training is really about how we relate to other people. And one of the main ways we break the fence of these commitments is through our speech, and even more subtly through our thoughts. Now, Ringo Tulku, in his book on mind training, puts it very clearly. And he says, the slogans of the 6 points show us the unwholesome attitudes or inclinations that might interfere with our practice. The mind is not always receptive or cooperative, and we need to constantly review our attitudes and ethical outlook. Now, within that structure, the 16 commitments become very precise, end quote. So that's what he's pointing here. Is that this problem isn't just what we do, it's the underlying attitudes that quietly shape what we do. And those attitudes are not always cooperative. So now we move from principle to exposure, and this is where the practice becomes very precise. So the first one is change your intention, but act naturally. This one cuts directly into our spiritual performance. Transform your motivation internally, but do not advertise it externally. There's a traditional story of a monk who would loudly perform compassion so others would notice. Now, we don't do that in the same way, but we do signal our awareness, display our restraint, subtly curate how others perceive our practice. And the ego does not disappear when we encounter the Dharma, it becomes more sophisticated. So the instruction is exact. Let the transformation be inward. If it is real, it will show itself without announcement. Now, there's another slogan, do not speak of others' defects. This is not just about speech, it's about perception. When we repeatedly articulate others' faults, when we train the mind to organize reality that way, and in a modern context, this is constant, judgment is ambient, reinforced through our conversation, the media, internal commentary. And so the practice here is not repression, it's recognition. Every time I rehearse someone's fault, I strengthen the habit of separation. Now we have another slogan here, do not concern yourself with others' affairs. When I was, the company I work for is, we work with adults with intellectual disabilities. And I remember when I was a house manager, we would always have people come over and want to report other people because they're not following the rules per se. And we would always have to remind people, whose business do you need to worry about? Because it's usually our own business. And so this classic image of do not concern yourself with others' affairs, we ignore a flaw the size of a mountain in ourselves, yet we fixate on the flaw the size of an atom in someone else. And that's not accidental. That's self-cherishing, protecting itself. So the instruction is immediate and practical. When judgment arises, interrupt it. Turn it inward, not as self-criticism, but as accurate redirection. Now, the other slogan we have is give up hope for results. Whew, that one's hard. This one's particularly uncompromising because it cuts into the hidden contract that we often make with our practice. I'm doing this, so something should be improved. My stress, my relationships, my experience. And when that doesn't happen, doubt arises, frustration arises. But from the perspective of Lojong, the issue is not a lack of results. It is the presence of expectation. Practice is not transactional, it's directional. We orient towards the benefit of others. If well-being arises, fine. But if that becomes the motivation, the entire structure collapses. Now, the next slogan is do not be dependent in the wrong way. And we might question, like, what do you mean do not be dependent? This refers to being dependable and holding grudges. And this is where practice becomes extremely honest because resentment can feel justified, even principled. But every time we revisit the injury, we entrench it, we stabilize it. So letting go is not moral generosity, it's really psychological clarity. The next one we have is do not retaliate. When harsh words land, the impulse is to respond immediately, and often we feel entitled to respond. But the teaching is not about politeness, it's about causality. Harm does not resolve harm, it extends it. Now, this is important. This does not mean passivity, it means examine the mind before acting. If anger is driving the response, it will not produce clarity. Now, the next one is do not wait in ambush. This one is the most psychologically precise teaching in the set. It describes a form of patience that is not patience, but delayed retaliation. Outwardly composed, internally accumulating, keeping track, waiting. It is not uncommon in most practitioners. And if I'm honest, I see this in myself constantly, not in dramatic waves, but in these small, almost invisible movements of the mind. Don't believe me? Ask my wife. Which is why this instruction is simple. If you detect it, don't justify it. Return to your intention. Now, this next one is also one of my favorites. Do not transfer the ox's load to the cow. This addresses the reflex to displace responsibility. When something goes wrong, we instinctively locate the cause outside of ourselves. When something goes right, we internalize the credit. And this is not a moral failing, it's just a structural bias of our ego, which is why correcting it is so powerful. Taking responsibility is not self-blame, it is reclaiming the point of transformation. Now we have another one. Do not turn the divine into the demonic. This is perhaps the most critical warning. If Dharma increases pride, it has ceased to function as Dharma. At that point, it becomes an instrument of ego's reinforcement, and that's very subtle. We accumulate knowledge, we refine our language, we develop perspective, and without noticing, we begin to feel above others, more correct, more clear. And the question is extremely simple. If the practice is reducing self-importance, or is it refining it? And that answer really determines everything. The other one I wanted to share today, and we're not going to cover them all, but this last one I wanted to share was do not seek happiness in others' suffering. Okay, I see this one lands with a lot of folks. This is uncomfortable because it's ordinary, wishing for someone to fail so we can succeed, wanting circumstances to shift in our favor regardless of the cost. And the instruction is not to eliminate this instantly, but to recognize it without distortion, because unseen, it governs behavior. Seen, it begins to loosen. So if we can step back, the pattern becomes unmistakable. Every one of these commitments identifies a way that self-cherishing disguises itself, not as something harmful, but as something reasonable, even justified, which is why the practice is not suppression, it's recognition, again and again and again. So how do we work with these? Well, the important thing is don't attempt all 16 at once. That will lead to burnout. Take one. Hold it in attention throughout the day. Watch how the mind moves in relation to it. And when you fail, which you will, do not reinforce that failure with judgment, just reorient. That repetition is the training. So I want to return to a phrase from the commentary. Make great progress, but with few outward indications. There is no need to act holy or separate ourselves from others. In a culture organized around display, this is deeply countercultural because the real work is invisible. It happens in the moment when you do not defend yourself, the moment you release the story, the moment you take responsibility without announcement. No one sees it, but those moments accumulate, and over time, they fundamentally alter the structure of our heart. The deepest practice is the one no one witnesses, and that is where the real transformation happens. Not in what is seen, but is what is released. So I hope that this talk has been beneficial to you. And this week, may you have compassion, wisdom, gratefulness, and joy. So thank you. Long life supplication for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you're the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. A flower of faith. Lama of great compassion with kindness to all, you firmly establish the Rime tradition through skillful means and wisdom. Mary Tenzin Dawa, who is the embodiment of all the Daikinis with the sun of wisdom and the moon of compassion, you bring love and joy to everyone you meet. Inspired by your example, I vow to cultivate compassion and wisdom from this moment forward and in all my future lives. I will strive to embody the Buddhist teachings in every thought, word, and deed. Dedication of merit. By this merit, may all obtain omniscience, may it defeat enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may I free all beings. By this merit, may all obtain omniscience, may it defeat enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may I free all beings. By this merit, may all obtain omniscience, may it defeat enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may I free all beings. Aspiration prayers. Bodhicitta is precious, may it arise from whom it is not arisen. Once arisen, may it not diminish, but ever grow and flourish. All difficulties without exception being pacified with harmonious situations like the treasure of the sky, may the teachings and practice of the Rime tradition live long and shine brightly. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today. Again, the gift shop is open. If you'd like to take a look up there, grab a raffle ticket. We still have some tasty treats and coffee down here. And then for those of you who are staying for the sutra study, we're going to start at 12:30. So that way, if you need to get lunch, you can eat your lunch before we get started.